Hey everybody, welcome to day 10. I know, I've been gone forever, but I'm back. I'm gonna try to come out with these days a little sooner, but here we are. So, today I'm mainly focused on fishing. Now, spoiler alert, I'm gonna kinda skip ahead a bit, just to show me done with fishing. Fishing's annoying, and you really can't fully take care of it until you get to, you guessed it, Inazuma. So when you initially start the fishing quest, before you can do it, you actually have to do the Serena Teapot quest. So you saw how I did the Serena Teapot the other day. Once you get done with that and you're able to access the Serena Teapot, you get access to the fishing quest. What's it gonna do? It makes you come over down here to Monostat to talk to this guy. And then this guy's just like, hey, you gotta test out your fishing skills. So he sends you to like 2 spots to fish. Now, I'm not really crazy about the fishing controls. Also didn't help when I was initially trying to fish. I had a broken controller, so that made it even harder. But the thing with the fishing system is they kind of have this simulation where they try to make fishing harder than it actually is. A lot of times when you hold down the controls, they don't register to make the fish seem harder to get. They do this a lot with like the bigger fish, which you mainly need. Like the small fish is generally pretty easy, but the bigger fish, you can pretty much almost have the fish caught and then it just doesn't register. So then you lose all of your chance to catch it. So now he's sending me to the second spot to test my skills and pretty much go there, capture a fish. Then I go back to the guy to where he originally was at, complete the quest, and he gives me a fishing pole, and now I can buy fishing supplies from him. This is where you get the bait, but you need to capture those small little orange fish to get all the baits. There's also the fishing bow that you can buy where you can trade in for a bunch of other fish. I believe this is a trap because yes, it makes the bar a little bigger, so that way it's easier to catch fish, but all the fish that you have to trade in to get that takes so long to do that just better just to wait a little bit and capture it with the regular fishing pole. Plus, that fishing pole only works in the Pacific area. So if you go to Monostat, you need to use the Monostat fishing pole. If you go to Leeway, you need to use the Leeway fishing pole. And if you go to Inazuma, you got to use the Inazuma fishing pole. And so if you don't remember to change your pole, it doesn't even matter. So don't waste your time trying to get the fishing poles. Once you get all the bait, you can go to the alchemy station and you can create the bait. Now the main one you really need is the fake fly bait. But to get that one, you need to go to Inazuma and you gotta get Sakura Blossoms, and you also need to get horsetails, which are around Leeway, like in the middle portion of that. So hopefully you're collecting materials as you're going through. The other one that you're gonna mainly need is false worm bait. That's gonna be the one that you use to capture the main Inazuma fish for the catch. Then you have the red rot bait, which you don't really need that many of those. You never really need those fish, but you might want to capture them sometime so that way you can get fish out of the pools, because if there's too many fish in the pools, some fish don't pop up. So you probably want to make 2 or 3 of those. And the last one is fruit paste. That one you want to try to make a lot of because those are to capture the very small fish and they're the easiest to catch. So getting a lot of those helps. Now, one thing you want to remember when you create these, you make 10 at a time. So you don't want to like create 20 when you got 200 or something. You don't. Now for the amount of bait that you need. For the fake fly bait, you're going to need a lot because you need it to get the eels and the pufferfish. So that's going to be, let's see, 80 and then another 120. So you need at least 120 to get all of the materials for the catch. And you probably want like a little bit more, so I probably maybe make like 140, 150, and that's how much fake fly bait you're gonna need. For the false worm bait, you don't need too many of those. You just need to capture 18, but you know, again, you want to kind of maybe have it extra, so I probably get 40 of those. For the red trot bait, you don't really need any, so probably just like 20. And then for the fruit paste, those capture the small little fish, and those are like the best way to clear up the pond, so that way more fish spawn. So I probably would just get like 100, maybe 140, because you're going to be using that one quite a bit, and it doesn't really take, the materials aren't too bad for it. The red trot, you know, you have to use an Inazuma material and chicken, whereas the fruit paste, I believe it's something pretty simple. I think it's just like a Sunsetta in wheat, which you can easily buy, and you can just kind of get Sunsettas across the world. So should have been getting that while you were preparing for the Serenity Teapot. And then, you know, false worm bait, just berries and some slime. So it's a little hurtful, but not crazy hurtful. And then, you know, the fake fly bait was the Sakura Blossoms and the Horsetail. Okay, now for the fishing locations. First thing I want to do is show you the Genshin interactive map. It's pretty easy to get to. All you gotta do is just Google it and you'll get here. This is pretty much your best friend in Genshin. Let me kind of show you what we got here. So, pretty much has like a map of everything in Genshin, so you can easily look for things that you need. You can use this to get the Animalculus, the Geoculus. These are things that you definitely want to get. They even made it nice for you, where it's like, here's the new characters that are out. So a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, where do I get that flower to ascend her? And also the main monster that she needs. So you can just click on it, and then it appears on the map, and it shows you all the locations where those monsters are located. You can just click it again and it's off, or you can do clear all and it takes everything off the map. So it's very nice. Now if you scroll all the way towards the bottom, you have the fishing section. The reason why it's at the bottom is because no one really likes to fish, so it's not used very often, so they put it at the very bottom. But for this video and for us, we need to fish. Now the main fish that we need to get the catch and refine it all the way to 5 is 5 types of fish. You need the Raimei Anglefish, you need the Rusty Koi, the Golden Koi, the Bitter Pufferfish, and the Pufferfish. Now, if you just select them, it shows where they're at on the map. I'm going to go ahead and just show you in-game all the locations, but you can just zoom in and you can easily see like, okay, there it is, there it is. Very easy. The map's pretty simple to use. But now I'm going to go ahead and just show you in-game what these locations are instead of just trying to look at this map. So, here we are. And here's the locations where they were on the map. So you can use this to just write them down, or you can just go to that Genshin map and do it yourself. But here's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh, eighth, 9. Now we go over to Inazuma. There's the 10th one, the 11th one, and here is the 12th one, and there's the 13th one. And here's the special one, which is the 14th. This is the only location where you can get the Raimei Anglefish, and they're special. You can only capture them at night. Now all the other locations, you want to change the day from night to day, so that way you get all the fish that you can out of the locations, because the different fish pop up during the day and different fish pop up during the night. It's completely random in those locations, so you just have to keep switching the day over and try to pull as many fish as you can out. What I recommend is try to not have more than 5 fish in the pool. That's why I say use that little fruit paste just to get all the small fish out, and then keep changing it to day and night. And then if the main fish that you're trying to get doesn't pop up, it's probably that's all you got for that set of 3 days, because they don't respawn until every 3 days. Now, one thing that you can do once you put the pin on the map, let me kind of just show you how to do a pin real quick. You just basically press circle if you're using a controller. Keyboard would be different, but still the same method. Once you put it down, you can change it to whatever. Like this is like used for like plants, mining, and then let's just say fishing. And then just if you accidentally put it on there, you can just click it again and then just press delete, and now it's off. You can also click on a pin and you can press navigate, and then that'll help you navigate to that specific pin. So if I got on my character and I'm like, oh, I want to go get those Raimei Anglefish, I can grab in the boat, and then that pin is located on my map, so I can go over right to it, which is helpful when you're trying to find the fish, because you can't like look at your map all the time. You're like, well, am I going to the right place? It's just easier to use that pin location. Now it's time to know the location where you get the catch. It's right above Inazuma City at that spawn point. You pretty much just run to this girl. She has like a little fish symbol above her head, and that's who you talk to buy the materials to refine the catch and also get the catch. So right here you see the fishing pole. This is for Inazuma. Pretty much here's the materials you need for that. I already said that's a trap. It's not worth it. Just spend the extra time to catch them yourself. Now here's what you need for the catch. You need 6 Raimei fish, 20 of each different type of koi. Then I went ahead and just bought that. I think you should buy that out the gate because it's just so powerful of a weapon. And here is the material to refine it up to like rank 5. Now you need 10 bitter pufferfish, 10 regular pufferfish, and 3 Raimei fish, but you need to buy 4 of those. So you need 40 bitter pufferfish, 40 pufferfish, and 12 Raimei angelfish. So you can see it's quite a lot of materials, but at the very least, the second you can, try to get the catch. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what's the max materials needed to get everything. So you need 18 Raimei angelfish, you need 40 bitter pufferfish, 40 pufferfish, 20 golden koi, then 20 rusty koi. This is why you need so much fake fly bait, because to get the pufferfish and to get the koi, it takes fake fly bait to attract them. And for the angelfish, it takes the false worm bait, but you only need 18 of those, so you don't need that many. But when you're going into the pools, you need to sometimes fish out random fish to make other fish appear. That's why I say use the fruit paste to get the small fish, so that way you can get the pufferfish to appear or the koi to appear if you're going for those. Here you see me going ahead to ascend the catch, also refine it. The reason why this is Jangling's best free-to-play option, what that means is basically the weapon you get kinda for free from Genshin without having to roll on the banner or whatever and spend money. It just takes time, a lot of time, because it's fishing. But once you see, I refined it as high as I can. You might be wondering how I got the materials to refine this. I went to Google and I think I got to the Genshin Wikipedia that told me the Ascension materials needed to get this. And if you remember my tip video, when you're adventure rank 30, I went ahead and went to a weapon domain and I got the weapon Ascension materials needed for this weapon because I knew it's such a powerful weapon. Alright, here's a feature you want to get familiar with if you want to get the catch right away. Co-op mode. I said earlier in the video that the fish only respawn every 3 days. But what you can do is you can go to co-op mode and you can go into other people's worlds and you can ask if you can fish there. Here's how it looks. You pretty much just request to join. I'm gonna go ahead and just request the first 4. Most of the time, people just decline you because it's like that annoying thing that pops above your screen and you're just like, I don't want to be bothered with that. So people just let it time out or they just press decline. As you see, a lot of people are just declining me, so I'm not getting into the world. But if you just kind of scroll down, eventually you find somebody who will let you in their world. Then you can just nicely ask them, hey, do you mind if I fish? A lot of people try to get fishing knocked out right away. So if they're done fishing and they let you in your world, most likely they're going to let you fish. Here I'm going to simulate me going into someone's world by going into the Serenity Pot of one of my other accounts. Originally, I wanted to just go into my other accounts to fish, but since they're adventure rank 55 or higher, and I'm less than adventure rank 50, I can't get to those worlds. So I had to use the co-op feature. A lot of times if people haven't done their fishing or they don't really know you, they'll just instantly kick you out if you ask if you can fish. But you might find a couple that are just like, yeah, sure, you can fish, so. But once you're in someone's world, it's pretty simple to ask them if you can fish. For me, since I use the controller, I just press the touchpad in the middle, and then it brings up this menu. Then I just press the circle, and I'm able to send messages to the person. So I'm just like, hi, mind if I fish? They'll generally respond with like sure or no problem, or probably like no and kick you out. But it just kind of happens. If they don't really respond, just kind of go to a fishing location and maybe like jump up and down because sometimes they don't speak English. Another note to know is that you want to put the pins where the fishing locations are, because when you go to someone else's world, it uses your pins. So you can easily look at the map and go directly to the fishing location to get the fish that you're trying to get. A lot of times, once I got towards the end, I just had to go to people's worlds just to get pufferfish because I needed 40 each of those, where I only needed 20 koi. So I got my koi pretty fast. Then to leave, you just go to co-op mode. There it is a return to single player. You click on that, and then you leave the world and you're back in your regular world. Then you just repeat that until you get all the fish in the world. Wanted to show you what it looks like when someone tries to join your world. Pretty much have that bar above your head. I have mine set up to where I have to accept the request before they join. So I find that one much easier. That way people don't accidentally get in your world. A lot of times when Genshin first came out, I don't think they had that feature. And then people would get into your world and they would just start stealing your resources, taking your flowers and everything. So it was really bad. But let's say you accidentally bring someone into the world, just go to that co-op again and press return to single player and it'll kick them out. You see where I have right there, world permission, join after approval. So that forces them to where they can only join once I approve it. Now, if you just never want to see that little pop-up every time, because it is pretty annoying, you can go with reject join request, and then no one will be able to ever try to join your world. But if you do that, you can't ever join anyone else's until you change that permission.
I feel like there's something I forgot to do.
I also wanted to give you one extra tip. If you happen to have Thoma, he gives you the passive ability to where you can get a 20% chance to get double fish in Inazuma. So if you do go to other people's worlds, you might want to go to Inazuma first if you happen to have a Thoma on your account. So that random Thoma that I got during my rolling session kind of worked out. Now, let's go fishing. So you start out by just picking your bait. I went in with the fly fish because I'm trying to get the eels. I needed to get the catch. Now, with the eels, ideally you want to try to aim the thing right in front of where they're swimming. That way they'll probably just like run into it. The eels are probably like one of the hardest to catch because you have to like aim in front of them. But Once you do, eventually they'll grab it, and then you start the process of trying to get them captured. You gotta have the bar within that circle, but again, the controls make it to where it's just like, oh no, they're trying to get away, and even though you're holding it down, it doesn't register because fish can, you know, defy the laws of physics. So, as you see, you saw like where I was in it, and then it just kind of went away because they're making this more difficult than it should be. But eventually, I'm going to capture this fish. So, after I capture the fish, I'm casting again. Let's say I was going for that red fish. Since I threw it right on them, they swim away, which, again, it's just like, well, now you gotta wait for that person to stop if you want to try to capture that fish. But what I was going for was the koi. I know I called it an eel before. They look like eels. But once I capture this fish, then that's going to be all the fish in the pond that I'm trying to go for the catch. Also too, you probably notice Paimon's constantly talking to you. He's like, oh wow, you caught a Paimon, or oh, you almost got it. It's very annoying. If you just can't take that, you might want to turn off your sound. Now, you see right here, I have to change it to nighttime because it's daytime. Now, once I change it to nighttime, other fish might appear in that pool. So you look at that. So if you look at the pool, you see fish disappear and some new fish pop up. And now, how there wasn't a koi there, now there's a koi. One of the things you're going to have to constantly do is switch your bait around, because if I believe there's more than like 5 fish in a pond, then some fish won't appear. So you have to like just get random fish just to see if other fish are in this pond. And you have to like change it to night and day constantly over and over. You want to do that before you move on to the next pond to make sure you got all the fish that you need from the pond that you're fishing at. Alright, here I am. I went into someone else's world. That way I could fish to get the other ones. I wanted to show you a trick that I learned as I was fishing. Like with the pufferfish and also with like the angel looking fish. If you throw the fishing rod behind them, like right by their tails, they'll just like instantly turn around and grab on the lure. Makes that much easier because a lot of times when I had to go for the pufferfish, I would hit them in the face and then they would swim around, and then you have to wait 5 minutes before they would stop swimming and then try again. So once you start aiming and you gotta go for pufferfish or angelfish, aim at the tails. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work on the koi, but at least for the koi, you just need to get 20 of them and not 40 of the pufferfish. So right here, you're just gonna see me kind of aim for the angelfish looking thing. Now I messed up. I ended up aiming at the face, and you see it's swimming around. But once I aimed at the back of it, it instantly turned around, and now I got it. And there's like the friend that let me come into the world so that way I could fish. Another thing to know is that when you're in someone else's world, you can't change the time. So it's daytime right now. I can't change it to nighttime using the time feature. So what I recommend is that you go to another fishing spot and then fish there, and then just keep going until eventually it turns night. Then once it turns night, come back to the original fishing spot. Then see if any more fish appear. Here's the location where you get the Raimei angelfish at. Now you see right here, I gotta fight a slime. There's actually like 2 slimes. And they're kind of annoying because like once you knock down their shield, they start trying to run away from you. And this water hurts you, so you can't just swim in the water and kind of go after them. Plus if you're swimming, you can't fight. So if you go into someone else's world, just kind of know you might want to kind of bring at least one strong character, because you're going to have to fight these things so that way you can actually fish. And then as you see, I'm turning it to nighttime. That way the fish will appear. And right there, you see them. Generally, there's either 4 or 3. With Thoma, I have a chance to get an extra proc, so that really helps. And it helped me when I went to other people's worlds I didn't have to get as many because this location was annoying, especially when you can only bring 2 characters to someone else's world. Alright, the last thing I want to show you. On this island, at this fishing spot, there's like this lightning shield. When you go inside the lightning shield, wherever you're standing, lightning will try to strike you down. So you have to constantly be moving. But when you get to a fishing spot, if you enter that fishing scene where you're like fishing, you're invulnerable. So lightning's just going to constantly keep trying to strike you, but you can't die. So you can just fish here and get struck by lightning and be perfectly fine. The only problem is that when you need to change it to day or night, you're going to have to exit the fishing scene, run away, then change it to night real quick, then come back and fish real quickly so that way you're invulnerable again. I think also too, when you're changing it to day or night, you're also invulnerable. So you can just do that. Now, you could just go ahead and do the quest. I believe it's Surrender Chasers. It's not too hard. You just need to really do the first part, and then the lightning shield gets taken away from this place, and then you don't have to worry about getting struck down and your character's dying. But I thought it was cool, so I just wanted to put this into the video. Thank you for watching this long. That was it. Now you could be an expert fisherman in Genshin, and you should be able to get the catch. So that's going to do it for day 10, guys. I will talk with you later.